guys, Lord here, back again with another action figure review, and today our Mythic Legion's Rising Suns Wave reviews roll on with Kari, which roughly translates to the ghost of a demon. And no, Kari is not his full name. That is actually the second half of his name, because when it comes to Four Horsemen and naming their characters, a bit of a pain in the balls. That said, this of course is brought to us by the fine folks over at Four Horsemen Studios, who will remain fine folks despite the fact that some of their characters' names are tongue twisters and a half. But yes, this guy, if you haven't noticed, is heavy reuse of the Monkey King, which I liked but wasn't the biggest fan of like the rest of the internet. But I have to say, in this case, this might be my second favorite Sons of the Red Star character from this wave. I don't know what it is, but this guy is just all kinds of gnarly looking, and I love the Eastern influence. This is something from the dark side of Asian folklore and mythology, and I gotta tell you, I'm all here for it. So, with that being said, why don't we cut right to the chase and get to the meat and taters of this review and take a look-see at all Kari, not to be confused with Mercari, which is where you might find this guy later down the line for an exuberant amount of money, has to offer in terms of accessories, starting off with a pair of fisticuffs, one of which has a rather stuck hinge, at least on mine. That is odd. Not so stuck any. Ooh. That still might be stuck. Oh, never mind. It actually did move, but holy Kawasaki Ninjas, Batman, that is a tight hinge. That said, we also have a pair of grip hands with the wrong hinge for holding weapons. Not sure why we even get these. This is not what you use, but to each their own, I guess. Let's get a pair of claw hands, or open grip hands, and then we get a pair of even more open hands, but this time a little bit more relaxed. That said, we also get an alt head, which I'm torn on which head to use, because part of me wants to use this head with the crazy helmet and stuff, and this piece actually does come out if you want. But part of me wants to use this head, but then again, part of me thinks that this head will work on the Ghost builder kit from the Necro wave, so I could have a cool looking ghost guy with flames coming out of his eyes that look like horns. I don't know, just a thought. That said, we do get two matching swords for the scabbards hanging off his belt, backwards might I add, so I'm probably gonna have the old man do the old switcheroo and unlock those clasps and flip those around, because that's no good. And then we also have this weapon, which is very, Eastern inspired, because I remember having 03 turtle figures with this exact same weapon. It has a little give to the blade, so I'm assuming this is like a softer plastic, but be careful with it. You can pop it off the end though, so that's nice. But that is all you get for accessories with old Kari here. Yeah, that is the tightest hinge I think I've ever had on one of these. So I think I'm going to need to heat that up. But nevertheless, taking a closer look at the man in question, or the ghost man in question, he is really freaking cool looking. I know some of this is reused, like the shoulder pads, the shin guards, the belt. The torso might be new, because I think the Monkey King had something else. But at any rate, he looks really cool. And it's nice to get these Monkey King parts again and not have to pay the Monkey King price for them. So if you're a customizer, this guy is probably one you're going to want to add to your wish list. I mean, he is really cool. Does he have the Monkey King butthole? He does! He's got the butthole for a tail. So if you want to give him a tail, you can give him a tail. That said, these scabbards, like I said, they are backwards, but they are connected via chains to his belt there. So if you wanted to, you could unlock these clasps, take them off, and flip them around, because they are backwards. I don't know why they're backwards, but they're backwards. I mean, you could flip them like that, but they're just going to go back to being backwards, so I don't know what's up with that. I mean, you could easily just flip these around, have them sit up like this, but They didn't do that for some reason. Must be a goof with the factory. But as far as this guy's articulation goes, it's standard Legion stuff. He's got a swivel in the head that'll go up and down. He does not have a neck hinge, so since I might be swapping Scapular's neck out with a spinal cord, I might actually give him Scapular's neck, because I think Scapular's neck is a red color, and I think that would work best, especially with this helmeted head, because there's not a lot of range out of this thing. That's it. The shoulder pads come in. Which one of these shoulders is easier to move? Was it this one? This one. You can move his shoulders up, back, down, move forward and back. You can hinge his elbow, rotate. He's got a swivel at the gauntlet with swivel at the wrist. These have the appropriate hinge for holding weapons. So those are the hands I will use. He's got a waist ball joint here. Standard Legion stuff. Pretty tight because of all the freaking soft goods going on. His hips kick out, back down, forward, back. Thigh cut works fine. Single jointed knee, pretty tight on him. Swivel below the knee. Then of course he has the ball hinge feet with a hinge and a rocker joint. Peg holes at the bottom of the feet. So that is Kari in a nutshell. Let me actually put these swords in the scabbards just so you see how they hang. I will tell you, these swords, when you open him, be very careful you don't break them trying to get him out of the package, because you could easily break these swords if you're manhandling stuff. But there he is in all of his spooky glory. So with that being said, I think it is time now that we move right along and take a look at some size comparisons. First up, here is good old Kari, aka the ghost of a demon. Ooh, spooky ghost. Alongside his fellow Sons of the Red Star that we will be taking a look at from this Rising Suns wave. We have Despatar, the insectoid assassin, and Manisha Cinderhorn, the dark elf mercenary. All three of these guys look great together. And girl, we don't discriminate here. And I like to see the variety amidst these factions, because some factions, especially I would say the vampires more so than anybody, they all seem to blend together after a while, but when you start mixing stuff up like this, really makes them stand out. That said, as far as scaling goes, well, this dude's probably neck and neck with each of these guys. They're both 2.0s, but this guy has 1.0 parts mixed with some shorter 1.0 parts, so they're probably about even Steven as far as height goes. Getting them out of the way, so we can bring in our two regulars, Brother Mandibilith, right here, as well as the 11 Spawn, who, as usual, I wouldn't say towers, but he's definitely taller than Kari here. So with that being said, it's time now that we wrap things up with some final thoughts. Overall, and next to Scapula, the Crypt Breaker, I have to say that good old Kari, aka the Ghost of a Demon here, is probably my second favorite of these Sons of the Red Star guys. I don't know what it is, but the whole Eastern motif mixed with the fact that he is, as I mentioned, the ghost of a demon makes him really cool and unique in my opinion. Not to say the other Sons of the Red Star characters in this wave aren't unique, but, you know, Scapular's a skeleton, Manisha's a dark elf, and Despatar, probably the second most interesting, at least to me, is a scorpion dude, which we've seen scorpion/bug characters before. This, on the other hand, this is something deep from Eastern folklore and mythology, and I am all here for it, and hope we get more guys like this in the future. So, with that being said, hope you guys enjoyed this review. Until next time, I'll catch you guys later.